everybody. I am very excited because I have my friend here, Jodi Krangle. Jodi Krangle is a fantastic voice actor, singer, jazz singer, Dungeon and Dragons connoisseur, would you say?
Sure. Media geek.
Media geek. You have your own podcast. Why don't you tell us about your podcast really fast?
Sure. I have a podcast called Audio Branding. We talk about the power of sound and how it influences us, generally in the context of business, but I also talk about healthcare and public speaking and a little bit of voiceover and binaural beats and ASMR and all sorts of interesting stuff. Anything to do with sound, I'm here for it.
Anything related to do with sound. And how long have you been a voice actor for? Like
17 years now.
17 years.
2007 is when I started.
It's such a different
changed a lot.
Yeah, I know, right?
Oh, yeah.
It really has. I mean, I feel like, not to get too in the weeds about voiceover, but, you know, it's a hot topic, obviously, right now because of the SAG strike that's happening, and maybe it won't be. Hopefully, it won't be happening when this video comes out. But
I hope not,
but, you know, but it's a very interesting world, and do you feel like it's really shifted a lot in the last 17 years? Do you feel like it shifts every couple of years?
Yeah, there are different things that color all of this. Like, for instance, when I was first getting started, you know, we had a big crash in the market in 2008. Like, that was awful. And then, you know, we went through, I had a lot to learn in the early days. I think we all do when we first get started. And, you know, things started going online a lot more. You had the pay-to-plays pop up all over the place. I mean, when I started, there were message boards. That's all there was. There was no social media at all, really. Like
to go back.
I know. We lost our innocence.
to go back.
Oh my God.
Yeah, I mean, it's amazing. And I've obviously been inspired by you as well. And my career has definitely shifted. I mean, I'm grateful that I'm still able to do auditions and get opportunities here and there. But, you know, I'm really always just so impressed. And so, really, I mean, it's a flabbergasting thing that, like, which is a big word, but it's crazy that there are people that can do this full time and like that, you know, this is your living. And I'm really excited today because essentially what I've tried to do with this particular episode is, you know, I know that you enjoy your anime and I know you enjoy Dungeons and Dragons and I know you have an open mind and you haven't really touched a video game ever, have you? Or like maybe...
I have. I used to play Skyrim back in the day, so I had that for a little bit. I tried the online version and just didn't enjoy it.
Oh, ESO, yeah.
Yeah. I have played No Man's Sky.
Okay.
And I really enjoyed that, but I haven't picked it up in probably a couple of years now.
Yeah.
And they've made some major changes.
So many updates.
Yeah. But I mean, for me, this is more about, like, I never played in real mode. Like, I would always play in creative mode because I just wanted to go around and explore planets and pet animals.
That's reasonable. You should play like Guild Wars 2 or something. Some MMO that you can just pick up and go and do stuff in. Maybe.
Like, yeah, but I'm not really into the whole you have to fight this battle, you know, at this point in time. Like, I liked No Man's Sky because I could explore and because they had glowing grass. That was so cool.
There's a lot to love about No Man's Sky's glowing grass. It's all procedurally generated too, which is, you know.
I just thought it was awesome.
Can we call you a non-gamer? I suppose. I
haven't really done anything in several years now. So yeah, technically, I mean, I have like a base knowledge, but I haven't really played a whole lot.
Would you say that you know a lot about video game music though? Probably not. You know what you're getting yourself into.
Yeah, I think I do. I mean, I don't know a whole lot about it, and I am prepared, like right now, to be educated on the subject because I love music in general, and I love what it makes me feel. And that's really the point for me. If I'm playing a game and the music emphasizes what I'm supposed to feel in that moment, I love that. And especially if it's good music.
Yeah, I mean, well, so then I think what I'll do here is the way that I'll structure this is I'll just like give you a sort of a primer. It won't be a first look per se, but there's going to be a lot of stuff that you probably haven't heard in here. And yeah, rather than telling, I will just show. Okay. So, you know, I wanted to really tap into some of your jazz roots because I know that you've studied jazz singing and you've sung.
Oh, I have not studied anything. I've just done. Yeah.
Wow. Even better then. I mean, like this is actually great.
I don't even read music, to be honest. Like, Yeah.
So it's all coming from the soul.
Oh, yeah. Also, like, I don't read music. I need to have my lyrics on stage because I remember all of the music and the harmonies and when
Via
to come
the
in with
lyrics?
the people I'm playing with and all of that. And there's only so much room in this brain.
That's totally fair.
So,
No, that's fair. I mean, let's listen to this piece first, and then we'll get into a discussion about, jazz and I guess how it makes you feel and stuff. But This first piece is Super Mario Odyssey Jump Up Superstar, and this piece is really cool because it's just a good time. And without spoiling it for you, I say we just listen to it, and then afterwards we'll talk about how we feel and maybe if it reminds you of your singing and studies and stuff.
okay,
all right?
sure. Oh yeah, this is like old-timey.
Yeah.
Here we go, off the rails. Don't you know it's time to raise our sails? It's freedom like you never knew. 20 bags or a pass. Say the word, I'll be there in a flash. You could say my hat is off to you.
You know, one of the things that I've seen recently is Has Been Hotel.
Is what?
It's called Has Been Hotel.
Oh, yes. It's
And
the
this is
same
reminding
style.
me of that music.
Yeah.
Jump up, don't be scared. Jump up and your cares will soar away. And if the dark clouds start to swirl, don't feel a shed a tear, 'cause I'll be your one-up girl. So let's all jump up super high, high up in the sky. It's no how we're up like dancing. You know that you're my superstar, so no one else can take me this far. I'm flipping the switch, get ready for this song. Let's do the Odyssey. Odyssey, yes, see. 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 Odyssey. Spin the wheel, take a chance. Every journey starts a new romance. A new world's calling out to you. Take a turn off the path. Find a new addition to the cast. You know that any captain needs a crew. Take it in stride as you move side to side. They're just different points of view. Jump with me, grab coins with me, oh yeah. Come on and jump up in the air. Jump without a care. Jump up 'cause you know that I'll be there. And if you find you're short on joy, don't fret, just don't forget that you're still a one-up boy. So go on, straighten up your cap. Let your toes begin to tap. This rhythm is a power shoe. Don't forget you're the superstar. No one else can make it this far. But go through that stage. Now you got panache. Oh, let's do the Odyssey. It's time to jump up in the air. Jump up, don't be scared. Jump up and your cares will soar away. And if the dark clouds start to swirl, don't fear, don't shed a tear, 'cause I'll be your one-up girl. Now listen, all you boys and girls all around the world, don't be afraid to get up and move. You know that we're all superstars. We're the ones who made it this far. Put a smile on that face. There's no time to waste, so let's do the Odyssey.
Love that guitar.
I know, it's so amazing.
Wow, she has a good voice.
Yeah. Isn't that a fun song? I mean,
Oh,
so like,
yeah.
What comes to mind when you hear something like that? Like
Cowboy Bebop.
That's fair. I have
Kinda
heard
does,
some
yeah.
Cowboy Bebop. It definitely does. Have you heard Pedley? Pearls, rather. It's called Pearls.
I don't think so.
It's such a beautiful song. If I could play it for you right now, I would, but the copyright demons would come for me. But
Oh, okay. Oh, well.
Cowboy Bebop has a seriously good. So you feel that way because of the big brass, right? And
Yeah, a lot of
swinging
it.
and-
Also, it kind of had like shades of Sinatra, like it
1
that was
million
kind of
percent.
what they were going for, I'm assuming. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, in this particular thing, I mean, this is sort of like the anthem of of Super Mario Odyssey, which
Yeah.
is a sort of open world thing. But if I recall correctly, it's been a minute, but basically you go around this urban landscape, the city, and you're looking for the different instruments for this band. And then eventually you find either the instruments or the people, and then you get back together and this song starts to play. And it's like a really like, I don't
It's
know.
the reward.
Yeah, it really does feel like a
Okay.
reward. It's sort of like, we did it. You know what I
Yeah,
mean? Like it
I
has
love
this.
it.
What about that really stood out to you that like made you just like enjoy it so much?
Oh, the beat. I mean, definitely. It's got a really fun beat to it, and the harmonies as well. That reminded me a lot of Japanese anime because those harmonies, like you hear that a lot in the opening sequences and closing
Sure.
sequences of every anime you watch, right? Depending. And some of them are quick when you don't expect them to be quick.
That would be like, I'm thinking of like Tokyo Ghoul. Like that's not exactly like a peppy anime. I've never watched it, but I mean, as far as I know, Tokyo Ghoul doesn't have like a very like happy-go-lucky plot. And then like the music though is like really angsty, but like in a very fast beat, which is it's sort of, it defies expectations a little bit.
Yeah. My thoughts on that was Overlord, actually. If you've ever watched any Overlord, like it's like rock. Like they have it like it's almost heavy metal.
Really?
Yeah.
But is it like
in
a
certain
medieval?
places in like their ending sequence? Like it's just unexpected. Although kind of apropos, really, when you think about it.
You just endeared yourself to all of the anime fans in the audience who are watching this. You're like Overlord, and I'm like, different language. Can't understand that one. I'm not against anime. I just don't have enough time in the day. And I've tried like Neon Genesis Evangelion. I've tried like I do love Studio Ghibli movies, so like those like I'm
those
very
are
on
fun.
board with.
Yeah.
But in terms of
know-
like plot stuff, it's been really tough.
Yeah, there are some series that like My Hero Academia, which
I heard it's a great beginner one.
I mean, I started watching it not that long ago, but there's like 7 full seasons of it and they are dubbed in English and really well acted. And I'm super impressed. And I haven't caught up on the very latest episodes, but I'm like probably 5 or 6 episodes into season 7 at this point. I have a Crunchyroll subscription, like I don't watch it all, but I've watched quite a lot.
The big yeah.
Yeah.
Do you feel like listening to dubs? Like have you done some dubbing work yourself?
I have not. No, I don't do anime. I don't do video games. I don't do animation. I tend
Is it
to
something
stick.
you want to do, or is it just like
If someone invited me and it fell into my lap, I might give it a try, but I don't have a demo for it. I mostly focus on commercials and corporate narration and anything that's 5 minutes of finished audio or less, just because that makes my day different every day. And it means there are no fires. That's what I love about my job. So I get to do this stuff. And then if there's a, if there's a fire, it's like replace this word on this less than 5 minute video. And it takes me 10 minutes. Like
You're bringing up a really interesting point, though, and one of the things that I was really impressed to learn about voiceover as I started like my studies with it is how many different genres there are. And I think in popular culture, like the sexy jobs, like the interactive, the video game and whatever, but like a lot of the ways that most full-time voice actors make their living is through private. Like, I mean, even the second year that I did voiceover, I had a really good year, and it was almost exclusively e-learning, which is, like instructional stuff, for those of you that don't know. And, it's not sexy. It's not really glamorous, but it feels really good when you get done, and you're like, but you don't even do that. You don't even do long form. You wouldn't do.
No, I actually stopped doing e-learning. I used to do it for a little bit. I do really short medical narration every once in a while, but I tend to stick to the commercials and the corporate anthems and that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
Like, the anthems that are like, this is who we are and we're proud, like that kind of, I love those. Those are so much fun.
But it's actually incredible, though. It's incredible that, again, interactive and anime, like those are the things that are sort of like revered in the industry, or well, at least on the outside looking in. But if you really think about it, in anime dub, you're lucky if you make $250 an hour.
Yeah,
or an
it's a lot of
interactive,
work.
yeah, it's a ton of work. For you have to like be really passionate, and I think like that's what's also really interesting to me about the folks that I see that continuously dub anime. They really love it.
Oh,
Like,
yeah. And I mean, all the power to them. Yeah. They do a great job. I mean, I'm certainly
really do.
definitely impressed with what I hear. For the most part. I mean, it used to not be like that.
No, I know. It's really changed. I mean, it's really changed. There's always like debates online about which dub is better, and like, well, the Japanese dub is the original. So that's, and it's like, yeah, but we can't also deny how talented actors are in the English language and also like other languages that are not like Spanish. Like that's a prime example of another fantastic dub. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, I don't know. I find, how dare you open this can of worms?
I will say that I watch Overlord in the original Japanese because that's how it is on Netflix. And I don't mind that at all because the voice actors are phenomenal. They're amazing.
Yeah.
And then you have your subtitles, on a, so that's fine.
What about TV dubs? Like, would you watch the Squid Game in a dub, or would you watch it in the original language?
I didn't watch the Squid Game, and I'm not much into gore. Like that kind of stuff just doesn't appeal to me, so I didn't watch that for that reason.
That's totally fair.
So yeah, and it's not like it would depend on what the gore was. So I don't watch screamer movies. I don't tend to watch things that are specifically set up for the gore. And the psychological stuff like that, like Scream or what's the one? Is that the one where like they have to like, saw off their hand to get out of being killed?
That's Saw.
Yeah, Saw. Okay, so no, it's just not my thing.
It's not peaceful, is it?
No.
Well, let me watch this amazing segue. Speaking of peaceful, what would be really interesting? So that was Super Mario. Like that's one of the newest iterations. Although that's 7 years old already. But there's another piece of wonderful music from another game called Dragon Quest. And this is I've been playing this game, Dragon Quest XI, Echoes of an Elusive Age, and it's very orchestral and beautiful. And I know that one of the big things that you're sort of like tenets for things that you enjoy listening to or watching are things that move you. And I think that hopefully this will also move you in some sort of way.
Ooh, majestic. It's a marching band. How old is this?
6 years.
Okay.
With the Tokyo Symphony Orchestra.
Okay.
Did that make you feel anything?
It made me think I was about to watch an old movie.
Interesting. So you thought it was
MGM.
like
It almost
30
sounded
years
like
old.
the intro to an MGM movie from the 50s.
I think it speaks to a really interesting idea about the fact that overtures and opening themes are such a vital and important part of the storytelling experience, and that really, I think a lot of us think that the gameplay starts like when the game starts, but really it starts the moment the screen like lights up, and,
Sure.
it's interesting because it's in a lot of ways it feels like almost like a pre-life, where it's like something that you need to experience to then usher you into the game. You know what I mean? So it's like a pre-life in acting terms, for those of you that don't know, is like, well, the other day I went to the store, and here today I discovered that you can win $500 because the store, like it's sort of a segue so that you naturally feel like you're engaging in a conversation. And I know, does it feel like that? You feel like that music is going to naturally get you somewhere?
I mean, I feel that's what they were going for. I definitely think that it sets a tone.
Yeah.
I mean, certainly it's a majestic background and storyline with knights and dragons and such, I'm assuming.
Monsters and
Yes, exactly. So, I mean, it needs majesty.
But it's also quite colorful too.
Oh, yeah.
There's something about this particular, you know what I should do? I should show you like trailers for these things.
What I thought for the color that kind of represented the color to me in that was the flutes at the top, the da-da-da, like that, the flutes up top there, that kind of like flavored the colors for me.
Well, the thing is too, is that like oftentimes music like this, if we're not adding, sort of, we think of dynamics as volume, but one of the other ways that I've started thinking about dynamics after having my composer and a professor was the idea of dynamics being lateral, and so, or not lateral, sorry, vertical. So what you end up having is all this stuff that makes it interesting. So you're not just getting from point A to point B, but actually you're like having a pit stop with the flutes up top, or like the way that even at the very end, there's this natural crescendo into the end.
It slid into the strings. Yeah. That actually reminded me of Star Wars. And the reason it did was because you have the majestic beginning opening, and then you have into Leia's theme. You know what I mean? Like that transition, right? So,
it's amazing how like these things, there's so much little nuance that actually is enhancing the experience. And I've been talking a lot about active listening, and so often I think as a culture, or maybe as a like a society, we don't really spend the time to like listen and try to like understand. And that's one of the things too about context versus no context, is that like sometimes it's really nice to really take a piece and be like, how does this make me feel? What do I think about this? How do I resonate with this? Have you ever listened to music while recording lines of dialogue?
I totally have. Yeah.
Will you talk about that?
I don't know. I don't know if we have talked about that. We might have in our...
Can we talk?
Totally. We could talk about that. Yeah. No, I love that.
How does that change the experience for you of reading like a line of copy?
It gives me emotional context. That's what I really, really love about that kind of thing. That's why I ask a client to give me the music they're going to put on their video, if at all possible, because then I know where they want to fit my voiceover into their production. I know what my voice will sound like on that music, and how that music shapes the emotion that I should be portraying in my voice when I speak.
Do you think that the music changes that?
Totally it does. Totally it does. When I'm doing a audition, often what I'll do is I'll take two completely different types of music that could be used in this context, and I'll read to one piece and read to the other, and the emotion, the context, the background, it all changes based on that music.
And I think that's something that I think a lot of people don't necessarily know, or don't necessarily like think about, is that like music at the end of the day, it doesn't matter whether you're a professional or like a person who does it on the side, or a person who like, I don't know, plays the drums in the basement. At the end of the day, like what we're really going for is an emotional connection, right? And like that's really, and I would say, I mean, it's clear obviously as well that, I mean, would you say that there's an emotional connection when it comes to voiceover too, when you're trying to sell a product? Or
definitely, yeah, it depends on the tone that you use. It depends on your connection, changes also depending on who you're talking to. So if I'm talking to my mom, it's a little different than if I'm talking to my best friend.
Right.
Like that's a completely different context. The same way that music kind of does that.
Yeah.
And I'll say, you know, when back in the olden days when we used to do role-playing games in person, I used to have a gaming group. I've known these guys for like 25, 30 years. And when someone was running the game, we would often play soundtracks from movies. And Conan the Barbarian was one of the big ones. I don't know if you remember that one, but oh my God, it's perfect for fight scenes. Holy crap. It just made you right. It put you right there in the action.
Yeah. It's an amazing thing because what you're doing there is extrapolating context from a given circumstance and putting it in another circumstance.
Yeah.
And I think that there's a lot of power in using something that belongs somewhere else, but then taking it and using it for a different thing. And I don't know. I one of the things I love about the channel is being able to look at a piece and be like, oh, well, the strings are moving downward, which is giving a sense of loss, right?
Mm-hmm.
But on the flip side, with the horns, the trumpets make us feel like there's a sense of regality, that there's a sense of hope, there's a sense of possibility.
Yeah.
So what I'd like to do is since I guess this is kind of a primer for you, I think it'd be fun to look at some of the trailers so that you at least know why it sounds the way it does. Here's a trailer from Dragon Quest XI that we just listened to.
It seems that grief and tragedy have followed you since birth. Cruel fate's dark plan has stalked you to the corners of the earth. You've brushed with death 1,000 times, yet still you have your life. It is your fate to save this world. For this, you must survive.
Great voice acting.
Bright luminary, let the light shine on the world again.
Fate hangs by a thread. We must fight fire with cold steel.
All that matters is power, and the only power that matters is that of the darkness.
It's time to claim your birthright. Only you can save our world.
Destiny beckons!
This is where your story ends.
Do not lose heart. Do not look back. Until your time is through.
It's nice to see where it all fits.
That's the thing about context, and I do think the context ultimately really does. It really is plays a vital part. Like we can listen to that and explain why it feels the way it does, but seeing it together is
it informs how you're supposed to feel while you're watching it, which I mean that's what music does for us. Like I said, it gives us emotional context.
Yeah, and whether we are actively listening or are watching it in the experience, like it's a nice thing to be able to have both the visuals and the music guiding that experience for us too.
Yeah.
Well, I think that works really well. So I think we'll keep doing that because I think that's a really fun way to share this with you. This is from a robot opera singer. This is from...
Okay.
Now, there is context in this video, so that's good. But this is from Nier Automata, which is a wild game. This particular track is called A Beautiful Song. It's from Nier Automata. And this particular track is an opera boss.
Ooh.
It's a fictional language called the Chaos language.
nasty boss.
Stuff.
So when it goes black and white, is that like a power move or something?
I'm not entirely sure. I can tell this is an edit.
Well, it's a robot, so I guess it could have two voices.
Oh, it goes black and white when they take a hit.
Oh.
When they get hit.
Okay.
Sometimes.
Oh, I wanted to see her go down. Wait a minute. You didn't give me the full experience.
You didn't get, yeah, no, there's a... What I mean, so obviously we're seeing what's happening, but like, what sort of emotional qualities stick out to you the most when you listen to a piece like that?
The urgency, definitely. I mean, you're in the middle of a battle, but also you're experiencing, I guess, what the boss is experiencing too, a little bit. Like, you know, that boss is protecting whatever it's protecting, and it almost sounded like Bedouin to me. Like,
what's that? What's Bedouin?
Well, like wandering tribe kind of music. Do you know what I mean? Yeah, almost tribal. Almost, yeah, I mean, just a little bit. Yeah.
Is there anything else that comes to mind, like in terms of like, what do you think is happening? Why do you think we're fighting that boss right there?
Oh, why? I honestly am not sure. I mean, I'm assuming that it's a boss for a reason. It's protecting something.
Well, it's an interesting thing, you know, because essentially this character, it's a little bit complicated, but I'm gonna get flamed for not remembering all the plot points of a game from 7 years ago. But well, before we dive into that, I think what's really important here is that you hit the nail on the head with so many of these plot points, because essentially what's happening is that, you know, what we really get is a sense of desperation. And, you know, how do we get that? And you even pointed it out. The reason why it sounds urgent is because of the increased rhythm, and the rhythm moving us forward and pushing us through that is why we get that sense of, like, you know, I think you made it really interesting.
There's something plaintive in the voice, though.
Yes.
Like that actually, like the tone of the voice that's singing is plaintive to me, and that almost gives me sympathy for the boss.
Yeah, well, but you're hitting the nail on the head though, because this boss is, if I recall correctly, comments, please feel free, not chat, comments. You know, feel free to let Jodi know all the great details in the comments. But essentially, this character is sort of like lost, and you know, this character Simone, you know, loved somebody, and she's been, if I recall correctly, sort of stripped away from that love, and so there's a sense of really feeling like, you know, her back's against the wall. And you know, you mentioned something really interesting that I never thought about, is the idea that, you know, there's two voices, and that second voice could honestly represent her lover, and I never even thought about that. Because it's interesting, because this isn't the chaos language, but one thing I always like to point out is that there's at one point the singer Janique sings fa male qui nel cuore, which it's not supposed to sound like this, but it's made up language of all these different Romance languages, but essentially it hurts here in the heart. And you know, there's a real sense that this is the first moment in this game where, you know, you're playing an android and you're destroying robots left and right. And this is the first time that the game sort of like clicks in, and you're like, well, this is weird. Like, why do I feel pity?
Yeah. Why do I feel bad doing this?
Yes. Yeah. But literally, even though she's like incredibly difficult and kind of like the first sort of challenge in it. Yeah, I mean, anything else that really stuck out to you about that piece that like made you feel some sort of way?
Did you ever watch Steven Universe? No? Okay.
No, I feel like all these references. I don't have my only nerd card is video games.
No, it's totally fine. It's totally fine. If anyone in the chat knows where I'm going with that, feel free to let us know. But the idea of that. In Steven Universe, his mother has gone through a whole transformation for many different reasons. But there are people that love his mother who've made sacrifices, and she may or may not have been worth those sacrifices.
Oh.
And so it kind of is reminding me of what we're seeing here, in that this is the remaining android robot creature after everything's been said and done, and they still love the person that they loved, and they're just here. What's left, and there's people left behind in Steven Universe who go through that as well. So I'm just I'm curious as to.
I mean, I feel like that's pretty accurate to this plot as well. And the other thing too is that, I mean, if you think about grief in general, like oftentimes that's quite the sentiment that people end up feeling. It's like, why am I left here when all this stuff is happening around me? So, I mean, it's really, really interesting that you picked up on that. That's cool. Do you like flamenco?
Sure.
Okay. Well, it doesn't matter because we're listening to this.
It's okay.
The next track is actually the final boss fight of Ace Combat 0, the Belkan War. And it's a really cool game, and you basically spend the whole time dogfighting, right? Because you're a fighter pilot.
Okay.
And what really blew me away about this series was that, and everyone who's watching this was like, Marco always plays an Ace Combat track. I'm obsessed with Ace Combat now. It's like one of my favorite series of all time. And I didn't think anything when I first heard this particular track. I thought to myself, well, a fighting playing game, it's gonna be lame. Like what's redeemable about a fighter playing game? And most people, I would say, feel that way because it's like, okay, but this is a duel, and using the instrumentation that it uses, without going into spoilers for you, it actually makes a lot of sense. And I'm really curious to see, like, also if you'll be able to pick out some of the jousting that happens. There's a real like David and Goliath. Yeah, so I'm really intrigued to see what you think of this whole 5 minutes sequence with as little context as I was able to give.
Okay.
Confirmed reactivation of nuclear silo. COM team, continue your mission. Engage. Stand by. We're analyzing the situation.
So you're jousting with Pixie, who used to be your ally, and he has a nuclear weapon strapped to his and a laser strapped to his fighter jet.
Whoa.
And the whole time is this flamenco music. And you have to actively chase him down in order to, and really square off with him in order to, like, actually make the shots, because he's a much faster pilot than you are.
Oh, okay.
Transmission from enemy craft detected. He's controlling the V2 launch.
There's the op, right?
Can you see any orders from here? What is orders giving us? We're going to start over from scratch. That's what V2 is for.
Gets louder when there's more of a competition.
It's pretty ironic, buddy. A couple of dogs like us fighting the last battle. There's no mercy in war. People live and people die. That's all there is to it.
preps to launch this rocket. He had the code.
David, confirm launch of V2. Too bad, buddy. This twisted game needs to be reset. We'll start over from zero with this V2. Trust the future to the next generation. This is AWACS. Listen up, Column 1. We've completed analysis of the enemy craft. Codename Morgan. This plane is protected by an ECM defense system. Its only weak point is in the front air intake. You'll have to attack it head on. Go, take down Morgan.
Shades of Star Wars again.
Stop him. Name the Lord of the Round Table. I pray for your success.
So you're flying as his rocket's taking off, and you have to hit him straight on. And if you miss more than once, the world blows up.
Like I said, Star Wars all over again. There's this tiny little window.
Yeah.
Feel the Force, Luke. Ooh, the heartbeat.
Mission accomplished, Cypher. Come on, let's go back home.
We live to fight another day.
Yeah.
Wow.
In your mind, obviously we just watched the whole scene sort of play out,
Sure.
but if we were to isolate just the music, like what is that, or I mean, how did that whole experience, how did that whole sequence make you feel?
Anxious, but that was the point. You know, I get it. I love that heartbeat moment. You know, the slow motion heartbeat when the planes pass. Yeah, that was really good.
Yeah. What do you make of them choosing to use like flamenco or a sort of obviously we would need a fast rhythm for that, but what's your sort of take on using dance music essentially?
There's something almost in your face about it, like giving the other guy the giant middle finger. You know what I mean? Of that flamenco music, like, because this is just like, it's got to be done. Okay, let's get it done. Like, it's kind of like this rhythm, I guess, that you feel, but it's down to earth rhythm. Mm-hmm. It's not inaccessible. It's it just feels real. It feels.
Does it feel like there's almost like a bit of sensuality in it, maybe with the flamenco?
A little bit. I mean, clearly the two antagonists knew each other. I really liked the difference between the action and the type of music. I thought that it was something unexpected that went well together.
It almost it defied expectations. So what would you sort of expect from like a fighter plane games music to be, would you say?
Kind of like Top Gun, Top Gun-ish.
Yeah. Like 80s synth.
Yeah. Yeah, like 80s music.
I think, and I really do think that part of the reason why this particular series has been so successful and why this particular piece is so successful is because you're right. It does defy expectations. It does sort of, I think that the flamenco really lends itself to the idea of a duel.
Yes.
A duel at the edge of the world, as it were,
Yeah, the duel.
And it does have this sort of like dance element to it. And I find that to be a really powerful experience. I mean, do you come away with that? Like, is that interesting to you, or does it feel like, well, it's still fighter planes? Like,
it's probably not a game I would play, mostly because a lot of the accuracy of playing a game like that has to do with how well you know your console.
Yeah.
So for me, that's less appealing. Just because, like I said, I like exploring and not having to worry about like jumping precisely to get to this place, or
you definitely need to know.
Yeah, you need to know how to operate your PlayStation or whatever you have in your hand.
Yeah, you're not going to casually. You can play Microsoft Flight Simulator if you want something more.
because that requires a little more knowledge of the gameplay, I think, than I would be interested in. but I like the music, and the sequence it's beautiful, pretty awesome. Yeah.
Another piece that I think would be really interesting, that's actually from a game that's pretty difficult, actually, is a game called Lies of P, which is essentially a sort of loose-ish based on the story of Pinocchio.
Okay.
And which is very charming. However, the music itself, there are a bunch of records that you can collect throughout the game's really dark and sort of broken world. And this particular track, I'd love to just hear, I know that you talk about mood setting a lot, and this particular track is one that you can just set in the world that, in the hotel crot, where you sort of upgrade your gear, talk to the people that are, the survivors that you become friends with and allied with. And I'm curious, there's not real any context to this per se, but I'd love for you to just take a listen to it and see what you think.
Close your eyes, come to me, feel alright, just dance with me all through the night, turn it on, close to you, I feel good, 'cause I just know feeling of you, give it to me, baby, feel alright, I feel good, just want you step with me, dance with me, here with me, feel alright, I feel good on you, alright. Just want you step with me, dance with me, feel alright, I feel good on you, alright, make a groove all night, close your eyes, come to
I have to say, I am going to save that one because I would love to sing that.
Yes.
We have a jazz band called Play It With Moxie, and we do a 9-piece jazz performance once a year in Atlanta. And that is one song that I think we would do a great version of.
Oh.
Yeah, it's beautiful.
I thought you might like that. Yeah. What comes to your mind when obviously the lyrics are haunting, and it's obviously like there's a bit of sadness in it, but what else, what comes to you? Like why does that appeal to you so much?
There were a couple of things that actually reminded me of Diana Krall doing Temptation.
Mm-hmm.
And also in the Barbie movie, she does a song called What Am I Made For, I think.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, so that kind of like, it had shades of that, and I really enjoyed both those songs, so love this. It's just beautiful.
Do you feel like you're drawn to more introspective or more somber pieces, or is it the vocal range, is it the instrument, is it all of it?
It's kind of all of it, but like I like the melody of that. It's a little, like I said, a little unexpected, but easy enough to follow. And I think that there's a lot that can be done with a song like that as far as performing is concerned. But I just loved her tone. I loved the beginning of it. I'm not sure. It sounded like rain, but it could also have been made out to be the scratches of a record. Yeah. So I really liked that part too, which I thought was really interesting to set the scene.
It's an interesting piece. This is when you do an optional side quest, and then you end up getting this as a reward, and there's lots of other ones. This particular one, I mean, I remember when I was playing, so the game is hard. I mean, it's the type of, you would not enjoy it. It's the type of game where you might love it, but it's you really have to know your way around your controller, let's put it that way.
Okay.
The world is really unkind, and it's actively trying to kill you, and it's very difficult, and you can get hit and killed in 1 or 2 hits. And what I find really interesting about this piece is that this is like the first moment where you really get a sense of respite in the hotel, where which is like your sort of base, where you get the sense of the peace and the vocal quality too, in that like sort of smoky, jazzy mezzo thing, which you kind of naturally have anyway, but like it has a real like sense of like you're all right, or I've got this.
Yeah.
And it's warm. It almost feels like a mother holding their child, or really anybody like supporting like a partner, or like so it's really interesting where this comes up in the game, and if you really need a break. And I think like that's what's really good for, is that it does give this overwhelming sense of like a breath.
Yeah. Yeah, it's really beautiful.
That's some of the stuff we have in video games. What else? I've never actually heard this song, Rivers in the Desert. So this is also new for me. This is from a game called Persona 5. I don't know why, but everything I'm giving you is like from like 2018 on. Persona series tends to have acid jazz, sort of like very vocal heavy, really interesting. Like it's great stuff.
And I've got to make my decision. This time it could be my moment. Is this a mirage or a chance to fulfill my mission? I'm living in a dry land. The left is in a lost end. A heartbeat for a demon. A wages in a
Shades of Supremes.
I'm given the balance, but I'm standing on razor's edge now. What quick, all my life is over. One strike just of pain, then I'm out of his field of vision. Don't ask why I'm ready, but I'm ready to strike him down now. I just saw the new stars, there's no time for indecision. When I hop when they're lost to the voices of greed and fear. Yeah. Don't ask why I'm ready, but I'm ready to take them down now. The time for a new start is constantly drawing nearer. A river in a dry land, the lessons in a lost head. When the hope of new beginnings burned our feet, now we needed a heartbeat for demon. Oasis in the sea's land, remind us from here, creating new life, creating rivers in the desert. When a cool drop of water's all I need, gotta clear my head of anger and greed. A place to refresh heart and mind. Can I find some time? And rivers and dry land, the last days in a lost head. When the hope of new beginnings burned our feet, now we needed a heartbeat for demon. Oasis in the sea's land, remind us what we're here for, creating new life, creating rivers in the desert.
Wow.
What do you think of that?
I loved it, actually. It
Yeah?
kind of reminded me of what they might. It isn't, because 007 has a very specific sound.
Yeah,
I
yeah,
would even say an audio brand. However, this gave me shades of that.
Yeah, definitely. I think in part due to the rhythm and obviously the singing voice itself, like
Yeah.
I think the forward momentum really like lended itself to with sort of in your face and but also a bit like femme fatale. It got a little repetitive to me.
It
Like
did.
if I'm honest with you,
A little. I mean, it's long for what it is, I think.
Yeah.
But
like I think if it was like 2.5 minutes rather than 5, I really liked the middle section where it's like introspective and contemplative.
they
and
could have
there's
had that
it's
a little
bit-
earlier.
I don't know that that's like my favorite Persona piece. And just so you know what Persona looks like, because I feel like it's a really neat art style and a really cool game.
You are truly as he anticipated. This is truly an unjust game. But if my voice is reaching you, I beg you, please overcome this game and save the world.
I'll navigate your escape route. Follow my directions. Enemies here?
Suspect confirmed. Cuff him.
It can't be.
Thing that all those crimes were led by a punk like this. You seem to be enjoying every second.
You transferred to Shujin Academy, correct?
I feel like we're gonna get along just fine as troublemakers.
Looks like you'll just have to live a normal, honest school life for the time being. Still, make sure you stay prepared just in case anything comes up.
Okay, let's do this!
I'm prepared. Let's focus and get moving. This is the best part of being a phantom thief! Yep, good stuff. I'm satisfied.
Spotted a shadow. Let's get it, Joker!
The shadows are ready to kill. Be careful, Joker.
Allow me to observe the path of your rehabilitation.
gather personas and bring them here. Execute them and continue to give birth to even stronger personas. The world is not as it should be. It faces an inevitable utter ruin. However, mankind is said to hold the power to overturn even the most dire of predicaments.
Wow.
Shoot, I kind of want to go back and finish it. I never finished it, but it's been like
It looks
7 years.
interesting, yeah.
From an anime perspective, 1,000,000%. And actually, I think like I actually did you a disservice because it's not like Rivers. I've never heard Rivers in the Desert, so I didn't know. But like there's other tracks that are really phenomenal,
Yeah.
and it's not that one was bad. It's just like it sort of fell a little flat to me. But you loved it, so I guess.
I mean, it served
job
its
well done.
purpose, I guess. I mean, it seemed to set a mood, definitely. And
Yeah.
I could get behind that. It had shades of Fame in there. I don't know if you remember.
Fame the movie?
Yeah. Did you ever watch?
Oh.
Like that
No, I
song,
never.
that specific song, Fame. If you listen to that song, you'll probably hear some similarities.
Oh.
Yeah.
All right, cool. Well, I'll add that to my to-do list.
Yeah, not like it's not really long already.
No, but I'm always curious because like, there's I love seeing like where things are and where they've been and where they're going and all the because everything's sort of borrowed at the end of the day.
Oh, yeah.
There's a lot of borrowed stuff. So that's cool. Okay. All right. I'm looking at the time. I'm looking at where we are. So you have friends that play, that know Warhammer, and
Yes.
a little bit about Warhammer.
A little bit, yes. I've played the role-playing game. I have watched others do it as a tabletop, like army against army miniatures and stuff. I have friends who paint them. So, yeah, I know
So
the
you're
ideas.
like tangentially related to War.
Tangentially, yeah.
Tangentially, yeah. And this is from Dawn of War 2.
Mm-hmm.
Actually, I don't know anything about it. So wait, there's like way too many Warhammer games. Don't come at me, it's true.
Yeah, but how many of them are good?
I think if I remember correctly, and comment section by all means, I think that they're fairly liberal with the Warhammer license,
Mm-hmm.
so it's not. It kind of can run the gamut pretty hardcore.
Yeah.
So this game is an RTS game, which would stand for real time strategy, real time tactics. Essentially, it's a war game.
Which is essentially what people are doing with the miniatures anyway. So yeah.
Yeah. I can't speak to it because honestly, there's so many different iterations in different games. But this particular track is really really cool and really beautiful. And let's listen to it together.
I shouldn't read the comments. But the first one made me laugh. course, one of the commenters on there says, "My face is my shield."
It's an interesting piece, isn't it? Because it sort of just like smacks you upside the head, and it's like, this is war, sucker, you know what I mean?
Oh, yeah, definitely. Well, Space Marines, it's a Space Marine theme, right? So, it's meant to be in your face.
What I find interesting is that obviously it's a march, and obviously it like constantly just plods forward, but I love that it's also like almost like a national anthem as well, because you have the chanting in there. Like, I know that you said something while we were listening, but like, what do you think of that piece? Does that make you feel closer to your Warhammer friends?
Yeah, a little bit. Yeah. I mean, I think I understand where it's coming from, because a lot of that music is very Gregorian chant heavy for specific reasons, right? Because, all of it is based on... Exactly. So that element is just about always present in any of the music I hear that has to do with Warhammer. So, I mean, I get it. But also, these are like the gigantic fighters of the universe. Like, these are, Space Marines are nothing to mess with. So it's got to be as majestic as they are, There's something about that is put together to strike fear in the hearts of anyone listening it who's not them.
Well, exactly. And the way that they do that is through march, through chant, through heavy use of brass.
Well, they're military.
Exactly. And actually the vocalism, I think, is the most interesting part to me, because it's so like pronounced and in your face. And it really is like, I'm going to whip out my giant machine gun and absolutely like lay waste to you. For those of us that sort of have even a slight primer into Warhammer, we know that the Space Marines are brutal, and they, have these suits that they can, stomp the heads of aliens to death and so on and so forth.
Yeah, but they're made to fit in those suits. Like, that's that's insane.
The music really adds an extra layer of subtext where it really is like, well, this is why they are so scary. Right. And I think that's like so effective. Watch this next segue. The reason why the next piece is playing, this is hard because there's so Baldur's Gate 3 just came out. I'm sure you heard about it.
I have watched every video about it that there is. Like, all of the cutscenes, I've seen everything. I've never played it.
So you lived vicariously. Why didn't you want to play it? It plays exactly like a tabletop.
I didn't want to go through the stress of the playing. I just wanted to see the story.
That's fair. So you watched every single possible option?
Almost every single one, yes.
So you played it.
I technically did, yes. I got what I needed out of
watching things. Yeah, watching things sometimes, 3 hours versus 6 makes a big difference. Well, so then I'm glad I'm not playing you something from Baldur's Gate 3. I'm actually playing you something from Divinity Original Sin 2, which is the game that was released before Baldur's Gate 3. So exact same style. I would say Baldur's Gate 3 really like honed in on the systems,
and the voice acting was insanely good.
Crazy.
Oh my God.
Like, what an inspirational, like, if only if only I could sound like that. So this is an awesome piece. This is the main theme. So again, main themes kind of setting up the plot points and the overarching ideas of the story. I'm curious to hear what you think about it after we listen to it.
Sure. Wow.
What do you think of that piece?
Oh, I love it. It's kind of a dream of mine to sing on a soundtrack like that. Not necessarily that high, but that would be so much fun. Just to do a fantasy song of some kind on a soundtrack. That would be so much fun.
You've been playing tabletop Dungeons and Dragons or virtual or what have you, like for so many years. There's a lot that goes into these things, and obviously we don't have the context for it. But do you like listen to that and somehow attach? Like, does that feel like Dungeons and Dragons music to you? Like, do you feel like that you attach yourself to that, like from your experiences playing it?
Yeah, definitely. I mean, the theme song has so many different swings of mood in it that I wouldn't use it for one scene. It would be many different scenes, which I guess would be the point of a soundtrack theme song, right?
Yeah, montage.
Exactly,
yeah,
right.
Yeah.
So, parts of it could be great for sitting around a campfire, camping with your party, or parts of it would be great, just as you're getting into battle with some monster in a dungeon, or, it just seemed very epic and very storyful.
Well, and that's the thing. And what's beautiful is that we can create our own, and you know this because you've done it. I mean, like, you can create your own worlds and your own, using your own imagination with pieces of music. And one of the cool things about that particular piece, which is why it's one of my favorite pieces, is that you really do get the sense that you're like lost in like a misty wood. You hear the sirens call in the distance, or and
the pluck of the mandolin, that's very medieval, but it also has an almost Eastern flavor to it, which was interesting.
But then you also get like the heavy brass, which obviously is that battle section too. And I think what's really cool is that all of it feels very rooted and very soulful, which is sometimes it's hard to find pieces that really lock into our we know that we can connect to, and regardless of whether we create like something with our mind's eye, the amazing thing about that singer is how she goes up and then like so beautifully springs downward, and it's almost like it's just such an incredible like method of self-expression, you know what I mean? Having vocal flexibility to create line and the accompaniment and the way that the plucked instrument carries that through with her, almost as if in tandem, like it's two lovers going off into the distance. Or it's amazing how much variety there is with music, and that particular piece is just I guess the word that's coming to mind is sumptuous. There's a fullness in it,
Yeah, very satisfying.
It's very satisfying, and I think that there's a lot of, I don't know, there's also like a sense of delicacy, I guess.
It was very Tolkien-esque.
Yeah.
That's what I hear when I think of Galadriel when I hear that, the really high vocals like that. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I hear that too. Actually, that's really funny. Would you want to play a game like Divinity Original Sin 2?
I would probably want to watch it. I mean, I almost find it more entertaining to watch other people play it.
Yeah,
and for a while, actually, some of the people that I was playing D&D with we would be able to connect online, and I would be able to watch them through a program while they were going through, I think it was World of Warcraft. So I was watching them play that for a little bit, and then somehow I think Microsoft bought them out or something like that, and that particular program went away. I don't know what happened, but I wasn't able to do it anymore. So, oh well. But I was having a lot of fun, and we were bonding and talking over them playing the game and me watching, and it was fun.
Are there certain aspects of what we listen to today that like you're more drawn to than others?
Definitely the more soulful. I think there's something, not grief necessarily, but something to be said for somberness that touches the heart. That kind of gets through everything. I find that very appealing. But
is that emotion easier to like tap into than, say, even happiness or contentment?
I don't know that the songs that we heard today were necessarily what I would call happy. If that makes any sense.
It was just my mood, I guess.
No. It's not your fault or anything. I'm just saying, yes, they were made for a certain purpose, and they definitely achieved that purpose. And I liked listening to them, and they made my toes tap. You know what I mean? Like I was definitely following the upbeat tempo and all of that stuff. But even then, I wouldn't call them happy.
Yeah.
Anticipatory of happiness, maybe.
It's a funny thing too, though, because like everyone's definition of what happiness means
Yeah.
is so different. Really, what it comes down to is the lived. Again, when we're talking about context, like at the end of the day, like no one interprets happiness or joy or bounding or boundfulness or whatever. Like no one attributes those. All of these emotions are felt differently by every single person, right?
Very true. Yeah.
So you can't really necessarily like pinpoint it to one I guess emotional context in a song, if that makes sense. Like it's interesting.
Although I do think that listening to songs like that, like music is kind of a universal language. So we may not all understand the lyrics. We may not understand, where they're going or why they're using it, but we do get the context of the emotion, no matter what we're listening to. Whether it's Eastern or Western, there's slightly different sensibilities in music, but they're similar. There's something similar. Like we recognize somber. We recognize soulful. We recognize a military beat. So we all kind of get that context. And in that sense, it connects all human beings.
Do you feel like the pieces where we were watching the stuff happen as the piece was playing, was that more impactful or less impactful than just listening to it sort of?
I think it was a little more. I do. I like the marriage of the sound and the sight. I think that it works really well together. I don't think it works as well alone. I mean, you can certainly listen to music alone. You can certainly watch something without sound, but they don't have as much impact.
Well, especially when it's written like for a specific intended purpose.
For action.
Yeah,
exactly.
Well, and that's something that I come up quite often with the channel. It's like, okay, well, we want to look at this for the sake of itself and try to understand it so that then when we look at it in context, then we say, well, wow, this is really meaningful because I now know that there's all these different things at play. But at the same time, I mean, I agree with you that, I think opera can be enjoyed out of context. And the thing about opera is that like opera essentially has context at all times because there's lyrics telling you what's happening. So, I mean, like, the argument that we don't listen to opera out of context is, I don't think is a really good one because like it's like taken away from a certain circumstance, but like the lyrics are literally telling you what the circumstance is. So I mean, like it's still a love song out of context as well as in context. So it's not like a great example, but I think it's interesting to engage in like exercises trying to understand why a piece feels the way it does. And then like the Dragon Quest 11, I mean, that was a prime example. Like that's a really nice theme, but you're right, it actually, even though that was a trailer, the connection with video and with the voiceover and the audio was way more profound, and it just hit in a different way. Other than like, wow, what a nice piece, it was actually like, whoa, like this is a real story.
You can see its purpose. I think that's what gives it more oomph. It hits you harder because you know why they're doing what they're doing.
Does that cheapen the music, you think?
Not at all. Not at all. I think the music is important, and I think that it's needed to see it with the visual to see what it's supposed to go with. But it works it works on its own. You can certainly listen to music without it being put to any kind of visuals. But when you are giving some thought to the creation of the music in context of the visuals it might be set next to, that combination is where the gold is.
Well, it's like you said, when you listen to a piece of voiceover, you rarely listen to it with nothing underneath.
Oh, exactly.
Especially in a commercial, you have to have music to aid the storytelling, if you will.
Yeah.
Has listening to these pieces changed your perspective on video games at all? Or do you feel like more prone to wanting to play them or wanting to watch some of this stuff? Like, what has anything shifted for you listening to
I
these?
like the watching, and I think that I could get a lot of enjoyment from playing. It's having the time.
I know. Right?
It has got me maybe thinking of going back to No Man's Sky, but I don't know. We'll see.
There's music in No Man's Sky.
There is not a lot.
No, but it comes at like pivotal moments. There's a couple tracks. Yeah.
I was kind of disappointed in that with No Man's Sky. There's one place where you can actually set a jukebox into your buildings, and it was awful. Like it was just because you could like build the music, I guess, with like beeps and bops and stuff like that. It's very computer cut off sound. It was awful. I had it in one of my buildings and I had to like get rid of it. I couldn't listen to it. It was awful.
Although it's interesting because like there is like a proper soundtrack, like with some really great tracks like Asimov and a couple others.
I'll have to listen to more of that. I wasn't hearing a whole lot when I was playing, but yeah.
Can you mention a little bit about your podcast again, just to sort of round it out?
Sure. My podcast is called Audio Branding. We talk about sound and the power of sound and how it influences our behavior in both what we buy on a daily basis, but also in our daily lives. So yeah, like this would be a great conversation to have on there.
Which we will have. Well, Jodi, I really appreciate you coming on and letting me like share some of this stuff with you. I think it's a really special thing to share in music and to connect with how it makes us feel. And, you know, it's a really beautiful thing. So I just wanted to say thank you for for coming on and thank you everybody for watching. Really appreciate it. And all of Jodi's links will be down in the description if you want to check out her podcast. And thank you so much.
Thanks. I really appreciate your inviting me on. Yeah.
Oh my God, of course. Are you kidding? Anytime I get to share video game music with anybody, I'm always thrilled.
I have learned a ton, so thank you. This was great.
Did you really?
I
that's
did,
good.
yeah.
I felt like I was like out to lunch half the time.
No, it was great.
That 5 a.m. wake up, I was like,
I appreciate it. Thanks.
Of course. And thank you everybody for watching. We'll see you later. Bye.